What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Credit Plug channel. So I wanted to just talk about this. I put out a poll the other day and basically was asking people, would they rather have 100,000 in cash today and have bad credit for 7 years, or if you would rather have zero cash today with $100,000 line of credit. And I think the majority chose the line of credit and zero cash. And I just wanted to share, kind of what I thought about that, because there's no right or wrong answer. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. And I think if you would ask me at different points in my life, I would probably have a different response to that. So I'm gonna just kind of talk about, the sort of rationale between what I would choose, right? And what I would choose now versus what I would choose maybe 10 years ago. Now, if you asked me 10 years ago, I would definitely choose the cash, right? Because I didn't really have any perspective on, basically how to leverage credit to generate income, right? And I'm a little biased now, right? Just kind of being tapped in with, different ways of leveraging credit. But I also understand people who would choose the cash, right? Because with cash, you're not going to owe anyone, right? You're not in any debt and you could do whatever it is you want with that cash. But here's the problem with cash versus credit. And I would choose credit, of course, right? Give me $100,000 line of credit, because having bad credit for 7 years, it just increases your opportunity costs exponentially, right? And I'll give you an example. So several years ago, about 3 years ago or so, a little bit longer than that, I purchased a property in this neighborhood. As you can see, the neighborhood I'm in, I would say it's not an affluent neighborhood, but, the houses here, you're probably not going to get anything for less than, right now, probably less than like 500,000, right? So when I bought a couple years ago, the prices were still relatively affordable, right? This is the DMV area, right? So it's all, it's all perspective, but that wouldn't have been able to be facilitated without credit, right? Because clearly I didn't have however much 400 something thousand in cash just sitting around. So if I were to wait until I had all the money to be able to make moves, then, it would take me a long time and miss out on the appreciation. Basically what I'm saying is that there's an opportunity cost of not being able to make moves, right? Because you're missing out on all of the gains. Now, just to kind of give you perspective, the property that I purchased 3 years ago, it went up a little over 100,000. So like right now, I have a lot of equity in the property. I learned a long time ago, back when I was broke, right? Back when I was living paycheck to paycheck, that bootstrapping is just not scalable, right? And that's the thing that credit enables you to do, right? Having access to credit or financial resources, it's going to allow you to get instant access to things, right? I understand people's point about, not wanting to be in debt, but debt is not always a bad thing, especially when you're able to get higher returns from that debt, from that credit. The one thing about bootstrapping, right, is that, again, it's devaluing your time, because it's going to take you longer to get to things and you're going to miss out on opportunities. The other reason why I would choose credit over cash is because cash in itself, you give someone, $100,000 in cash in their shoebox or under their mattress, whatever the case may be, that cash, that $100,000 is losing purchasing power, right? Every single day due to inflation. On top of that, that cash is not building any relationship with any, banking institution, or, it's not building any data points, right? And the whole thing, what's more important than cash, what's more important than credit is data, because, we're in the information age. Data unlocks things, right? Data is the reason why, I can go to a car lot, and drive off the lot with no money down. Data is the reason why I can apply for a credit card and get approved for, $25,000, $30,000, $50,000 limit, you know, just based off of the data. And credit actually builds data, right? Having credit lines builds data. And that $100,000, you know, line of credit that, you know, you'd have, if you're using it responsibly over a certain period of time, you can go back and get more. You can even go to another institution and then get another 100,000. So then now I just turned that working with that initial $100,000 line of credit, I was able to go out and get 500,000. And now I have 500,000 or $1 million in purchasing power to go facilitate a move. Whereas, okay, I got this $100,000 in cash. I'm not building any data points. I can't build a relationship with it, you know, unless I have it in the bank. But if I just have it in physical cash, it's not doing me any benefit. And also it's getting eaten up by inflation. At least with credit lines, you know, I can go back every 6 months and ask for a credit limit increase. So I think when you're thinking from the point of, you know, scaling and, you know, leveraging credit, flipping the credit, using it responsibly, I'm taking the credit all day. You know, when people talk about, oh, you know, I don't want to owe anyone, that's only a problem if you don't plan on repaying it, right? I never go into anything thinking that it's going to fail or thinking that I'm not going to repay it, you know? So I think once you have that mindset, you know, it's definitely credit all day because, again, you know, you're building banking relationships, you're building data points that allow you to get even more credit. And then, you know, having bad credit for 7 years, think about how long that is, right? Think about how the opportunity cost of what you miss out on by not being able to make moves because you don't have credit. I literally know people who've had hundreds of thousands of dollars and blow through that in less than a year and no credit. So now it's just like, yeah, you had the cash and, you know, now you have nothing and you didn't build credit. And so now you have to bootstrap everything. And yeah, bootstrapping is no fun. I'll tell you that firsthand experience. It just takes you longer to accomplish things. Being at different phases in my life financially, in my early 20s, you know, not really having any financial resources, it was definitely a struggle. And this whole idea, you know, people saying, oh, rich people don't use credit. That's 100% false. Rich people use more credit, right? Because they have more access to financial resources. They have the ability to repay. You know, if you're able to get more value out of the capital, right? If you're able to get a higher return, and the return doesn't always have to be how much money you're making, right? If you have better mental health, if you have, you know, better quality of living, nicer neighborhoods, credit is affording you better food, you know, better healthcare, whatever the case may be, then it's worth it. You know, it doesn't always have to translate into, oh, I made X amount percentage off of this money. No, because if the credit is enabling you to be a better version of yourself, you're already getting returns, right? Versus if, you know, for example, when I was broke, had no credit, I had to get a room off of Craigslist, right? I had to go and, you know, rent a room where they're not pulling my credit because I couldn't go to one of these, you know, major, management companies because they're going to do CoreLogic. They're going to run your credit. You know, they're going to want 3 times the rent. So they're going to want a lot of documentation. When I had to rent rooms off Craigslist, it was in bad neighborhoods. I was in Langley Park, Hyattsville, PG County. Anyone knows that area? Not a very nice area, right? This was in like a food desert. So, you know, there was just less access to amenities, you know, high crime, you know, things like that. So yeah, if I'm gonna use credit to getting to, you know, different areas, different environments, different settings, getting access to reliable transportation. I know a lot of people are against financing cars, but financing a car is better than spending 3 hours, 4 hours a day commuting, in my opinion. The way I look at it, other people might look at it differently. It's going to save you a lot more time, and you're just going to be able to get more access to things instantly. Now, if you're a more simple person, you know, you don't feel the need to have a lot of financial resources, $100,000, it's a good deal of money, but it's not enough money to where you will be set for life or even set for 7 years, right? Like, you know, some people blow through that in, you know, a couple of months. So it's not what it used to be. I know back in the day, you know, 20 years ago, that's probably a lot of money, but nowadays, you know, it's not as much as it seems. So anyways, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Let me know your comments, questions, opinions, right down in the comment section below. And until next time, take it easy and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.